Hello, dreamers and thinkers, and welcome to another episode of Undone. On today's podcast, I am joined by a lovely friend, but I don't just want to water down what she does as just calling her my friend. So I have a little mini bio here that I wrote.
Oh my God.
I prepared this. I was like, we're going to do professional. We're going to
Oh
do
my
her
God. I love
justice.
this so much.
She is a medical doctor, singer, actress, writer, model, and all-round baddie. Some of you may have seen her as one of the Schuyler sisters in Hamilton for their Melbourne gig. She is currently acting as Nessa Rose in Wicked in Sydney. And without further ado, it's my friend. Say hi.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. I am so excited to be here.
I feel like this has been years in the making, hasn't it?
Yes. At least because The Undone is 3, 4 years old.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Hey, I was listening to some episodes today and it went back to 2020. Or is it
That's
older
what I'm
than that?
saying. No, it went back to 2020 and then it never
Yeah.
left 2020. It kind of was like a time capsule kind of vibe. Unpopular
Okay.
opinion, a bit too early
Okay.
to go that deep, but go.
Okay. Okay. I'll do my light one. So just between you and I and the dreamers and thinkers,
Go.
I feel like this one's really niche
Ooh.
and it might not hit. It might not hit, but I've just noticed it. Um, I am not everyone's sis.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
what?
Uh-huh.
Like
I
me,
felt that.
my indiscriminate use of sis is my indiscriminate use of sis doesn't mean that you can call me sis. And I'm talking about
I was gonna say it hits different depending on the cultural background of the other person.
yes.
Now I'm like, do you call, because now I'm thinking, do you call everyone sis? Or are you calling
Mm,
me sis because you're trying
mm.
to really like now it's not cute anymore. Like now I've got a lot of questions.
I've got a
Is
lot of
you
questions.
yeah, no. Okay, well see, yours was not in comparison to my one.
Okay,
That
but
was
you still gonna
I'm
do it
still
then?
gonna share. I'm still gonna
Okay, good.
I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion than it is. You know what? I think it is. I think on either side of this, it's going to be an
Yeah.
unpopular opinion. I think that the church does equal parts good as it does harm.
Oh,
Yeah. And I think no matter what side of that you're agreeing with, you might disagree with the percentage I've decided to give, but I'm saying 50-50. And then if we get into, I recently saw, okay, this I will digress. I recently saw that
please
there's a
do.
documentary on Hulu. I haven't watched it yet about this white lady who was a
Yeah.
missionary who went to, I think it was Uganda, and opened up a center for kids who had malnutrition. She had
Yeah.
no medical background, no nothing, and was just felt like that's what the Lord had called her to. And she did that, and a lot of kids died because obviously, the first thing I'm thinking, I'm like, refeeding syndrome. Like, if you don't have what,
Oh
uh,
my
what do
God.
you mean? Who is helping you?
No,
But
no,
when
no.
right, when I thought about it, the first thing that ticked me off, I was like, I think African leaders have more of a responsibility um to the people in their nations to like vet people who are coming in to do any sort of business, missionary work, all of that kind of stuff. Because one too many stories like this where people have caused more harm than good are out there. The other part is and like I know when we're talking about the church, we're talking about the broad church, and there's many different like I always forget denominations within that and all that kind of stuff. And obviously individuals are responsible for their own actions, blah, 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 blah. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, from the outside looking in, people like that was a church person. Like that was
Oh,
and so I'm like, yeah, we need to clean that up. We need to clean that up. That was my other unpopular opinion.
sorry about that. This is so
You know?
annoying. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I agree. And I think missions trips also just hit in a different place for me because it's hard for me to not, I can't really separate mission trips from colonization.
I was thinking
That's
it.
my unpopular opinion.
I was gonna say, but I was thinking it like, yeah, it can be really. Oh my God, I was at a lunch and she was a pastor. She beautiful heart, whatever. Um, and in that moment, I didn't say anything. I actually didn't say anything, and I was so
Yeah,
proud of
I
myself for
probably
not saying
wouldn't.
anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But she was talking about how she'd been invited to go to Ethiopia to some remote whatever and share the gospel to people who had never heard the gospel before. In my
No,
head, I'm
no,
thinking,
no, 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 no,
isn't
no, 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 no.
Ethiopia one of the oldest?
No.
Like, if we what from what I have heard. So, what do you mean
Why?
you've never heard? I never heard the gospel like in English or like, and like, and then another part of me is like, God in His great sovereignty and strength. I'm like Ethiopians that could. Why do we need a white lady from overseas? Why?
That's literally the story.
Nice. And I didn't say nothing. Because in my head, I'm like, it's giving colonization. And I know that's not what you mean, but like, yeah.
That's literally the story I was about to tell you.
No
There was
way.
some lady who was I was like, oh yeah, she was like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm Eritrean, blah blah blah. And then she was talking about like mission trips, blah blah blah. And I was like, sis, you do know that like the Orthodox Church is like one of the oldest Christian denominations. Like, I don't know what to tell you, sis. Have you done your research? No? Okay,
That's
so
what blew my mind. I was like,
I'm gonna need you to stop
did
talking to me.
do I have my facts wrong? Have I not done
No,
history? I
no.
why who are these people that have never heard the gospel that you're going to in Ethiopia with the oldest hmm?
Like it's really like
Okay, can we start on you growing up in Tasmania? Like what was that
yes.
experience as a black person as a like what was that like?
Oh, it's a great question. Honestly, like I can't encapsulate it in one word because it was just so many different experiences rolled into one. But for context, I was 5 years old when we moved to Australia.
Okay.
And
And you
when
moved
we
straight
when
to
when we
Tasmania.
straight to Tassie. Yeah. I was 5 years old. My sister was 15. My brother was like 13, I'm pretty sure. So I honestly was none the wiser. But it's so interesting going through things like culture shock when you're that age because you have no words to articulate what you're feeling
No,
except for like I'm genuinely so confused. What the hell is
I'm
going on?
bamboozled. Like that's literally
Literally.
I'm bamboozled.
Literally. Like it's wild. Yeah, like culture shock when you're that age is really wild. It's crazy. I think one of the experiences that really sticks with me is when I was at school because I started in grade one in primary school, and someone asked me to pass them the skin color pencil. And I was like, the fuck does that mean?
What which one is that?
Like, whose skin? I'm confused. I think what you
Mine, yours,
like,
and then which
yeah.
one yours? Do I get the cream? Do I get the white?
Do I get the cream? Do I get the white? Do I get the brown? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Um, but I look back on my childhood in Tassie really fondly. Like, I adore that place. It's where I grew up. I still love it. Um, I loved my school. Like, obviously, there were definitely experiences that reminded me that I was Black and reminded me that I was a minority,
Yeah.
and reminded me that I had to work much harder than anyone else to be taken seriously. And even when I did that, people still diminished my achievements. So I was like, okay, y'all, I can't win.
This is a losing
So
game. Yeah.
this is a losing game. I mean, I still feel like a winner, but this is a losing game. So I'm just gonna do me.
That's so interesting. Was that in like academically or more so like in the creative field, like where you felt like you had to work twice as hard? Was that just like a general, I just got to work my ass off because,
I think it was a general thing, to be
yeah.
honest. I think most of my times in Tassie was spent focusing on the academic
Mhm.
stuff because all of my schooling life, my like primary school, middle school, high school was there.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say, yeah, as far as Tassie goes, it was probably more in the academic sphere, but I mean, I think it's just a general thing. And you, I mean, would you, did you go through anything like that?
I think I realized it once I started working, like I entered the professional field and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, there are just so many boxes that I am automatically put in before I even get a chance to like say anything. And so now I'm having to like work to climb out of those boxes and
Yeah,
then to establish myself. And yeah,
it's
yeah,
wild.
yeah. And I was
It
like,
is a
wait,
wild, wild west.
why was there no classes on this in uni? Why didn't anyone tell me this would be, whoa? Like,
I feel
it
you.
was an experience. So I guess so you did all your high schooling, all your schooling in Tasmania,
Yeah.
and then you moved to. Are we going to go with we'll say regional Queensland. We'll keep it to regional Queensland. I do want to say the town or nah.
Not regional Queensland.
No, because so that's where we met. We met when in
Yeah.
uni.
Yeah.
No, I feel like regional Queensland lets the people know enough about what that experience was like.
Look, I think Queensland is enough personally, but regional Queensland is really just
It really just adds that extra like what were the differences from like coming from Tasmania to going to regional Queensland?
I think it's hard to say because when I went to Queensland, most of my time was spent at uni. And unis in general are like pockets of diversity wherever you are.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, very broad strokes here. So I remember walking in on my first day of uni actually and being like, I have never seen this many Black, brown, Asian people in one place before. This is
Yeah.
wild. I love this. I
Especially
reckon
your
we were,
degree. Especially
yeah,
your degree.
yo, we were out here. We were out
Representing.
here. I was like, am I? Wow. Yes, correct. So I loved it. Like it was so, I think that was probably the first time that I really felt like um uh, in some way I was represented in my peers.
Yeah.
Granted, as far as like Black people went, I think there were one, two, three, four, five, six, six of us over the course of the 6 year degree, which
Yeah.
is still not that many, but there was still a lot of other diversity, you know?
Yeah.
So, and even then, like our degree was still steeped in whiteness. So yeah, it was really interesting to have a diverse cohort, but then to be learning from people that were in a profession that is so patriarchal and white.
Also considering another reason people are attracted to your degree at that university is because of the population that it's
Yes, girl,
and so it's like
it was real interesting. It was
so
real interesting.
I'm confused.
Yo, and like the name of said institution, the math was not mathing. I was like,
No, it wasn't. As someone who also went to the same institution and studied a different degree, the math was not math.
I was like, you do know that, but that, but then the flags at the front, but then
The
the
flags at the
name,
front and the
I was
library
like,
name, and it was like that's not enough.
of
You
all,
haven't done
you,
enough.
the library, like, come on, come on.
Come on, whose land are you on?
Yeah,
And the library was the best we could do.
like the library was the best we could do. Come on.
Okay, cool.
But just recently, like they've started, like they've renamed the campuses and like, have you seen that?
No, I
Anyway,
didn't know. I know
that's an
other
aside.
unis were doing it.
Yeah, I think they've started, like I noticed, because I still have my uni email, I've noticed that like some of the like alum correspondence has started to use
Oh,
um, a different campus name, which I think is great.
I love that. Okay.
But, you know,
How many years too late, but we'll take it.
baby steps, I guess.
Like, thank you. So would you say, okay, I'm trying to find a way to bridge your like medical career, which you moved to regional Queensland and you were studying. But you also said that like your time in Tasmania was spent doing academic stuff. So when did the creative side start to come out?
Well, very early on is the short answer. I have just loved music for a really long time, and I always did choir at school. Lots of choirs, lots of school choirs, community choirs, church choir, like church music team. Um,
Whole vibe.
all yeah, all those things. School musicals, local like musical productions. Just anything. I was in a band with one of my really good friends, and we used to busk all the time at our markets,
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
we'd play gigs as well while we were in high school. Um, and yeah, like I think I've kind of just been doing it on the side for as long as I can remember, I think.
That's so interesting. What inspired that, or who inspired that? Or was it just one of those things where it's like you just loved music and it was what it was?
I think I love music, and it was what it was, is the best way to put
Is
it. I couldn't
it-
put it better myself.
I was like, I hope she has something more eloquent, but that's what we're going with.
Sorry. I love music, and it was what it was. Um, yeah, I think it's just something that I love. I'm not being very articulate, but yeah, it's
No, that's
indescribable. Like I think it just the music punctuates so much of my life.
yeah,
Um, like I always have music on all the time, and I know it gets annoying
I
for my
felt that.
housemates, but I'm like, look, if it's not music, it's a podcast. If it's not podcast, it's music. So
It's like I don't get, why are we in a quiet house? Why are we listening to each other breathe? I don't want to do that. Like, let's set the atmosphere
why are we listening to each other
ambiance.
breathe? That's hilarious.
No, I don't get it. My roommate and I are the same. We're like, she was like, I hope you like music all the time because I'm gonna have it playing all the time. I was like, absolutely, because what is a
I don't
quiet
want to
house
hear
and
you
why?
blink. Yeah.
Like it's giving
No.
ASMR. I don't want to be a part of it. No.
No.
Did you ever think when you were a young child that you could do anything like musically or creatively full time?
I don't know. I don't know if I ever thought about it in that way. I think when I was younger, it was more about how it made me feel
Mm,
and how it helped me express myself
yeah,
when I didn't want to use words or talk to people. Um, so yeah, I think I didn't really start thinking about like the employment or the job aspect of it until maybe later on in high, maybe like year 11 or 12, let's say, when I had to
oh,
like
okay.
figure out what I was doing at uni and how I wanted, the next sort of 5 years of my life to look like.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would have thought you would have said it was like a passion of yours that you just always wanted to pursue. Like it was one of those things from a young age.
I mean, I think I like I did want to pursue it, but I think I knew that like it didn't matter what form it took. I knew that I would be doing it in some way, shape, or form.
I
And
love
that
it.
like I didn't need to be paid to do it. Because I'm like, I think the thing that helps me is that, well, yeah, I think the thing that has really protected my passion and my love for music is that I know I would be doing it regardless. Nobody needs to like it because at the end of the day, it's for me.
Yeah, I love that.
So
That
at
was
the end of the
powerful.
day,
Yes.
like I don't need to please you. I really don't. Like, and if I think if there happens to be an audience that is built around that, then that for me is a bonus.
Yeah.
And if not, then that's all right. I'ma still do
Like
it
I'm
anyway.
keep doing me. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in saying that, how did you pick what degree you wanted to do? Did you always want to be a doctor then? Or was it kind of
No, I
like,
didn't.
no,
I
okay.
didn't always want to be a doctor, actually. I just really loved science. It
Yeah.
sounds so nerdy. I just thought science
No,
was
I
really
felt that.
cool. Yeah. I was like, science is cool. And I think it helped that the high school that I was going to at the time, it was an all-girls school,
Yeah.
and we had a lot of investment in our science department.
I feel
Um,
like a lot of all girls schools in Australia do that, which I think is
yeah,
really cool.
me too, because it doesn't like it just opens up a whole avenue of like possibility and opportunities. Like it really does just like open your eyes, not to sound corny or whatever, but like It's
I
kind
mean,
of,
it's needed because at that age, who's going to open them if the adults around you don't open your eyes?
well, exactly. And, historically, women are, and you don't need me to tell you this, there's not many women in STEM at all.
Don't I know it?
Yeah, girl. Yeah, I feel you. So I also had some really awesome teachers in high school specifically for science.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of them were women, but I had a couple that were male that were just great, really supportive. Um, just yeah, just really wanted me to be good at it. Do you know what I mean? You know when you've got teachers
Oh,
like
yeah.
that care about your development and
Just want you to succeed.
they just want you to succeed.
Just wholesome. Like,
Yeah, and I think like I really don't think I would have enjoyed science and learning as much if I didn't have them at school.
mm,
And
yeah.
my mum obviously is a really important person, like when it comes to my education and my schooling and like the academic side of things, because she always, said that thing that ethnic parents say, which is that no one can take your education away from you, so you better read that book.
They all do. I mean, they're not wrong. They're definitely right. Like, once
They're
you got
not
that
wrong.
certificate, no one's taking that away from you. Like, that's my certificate. I did that. Like,
Literally, it's like, oh, it's past your bedtime. I don't care. What's 12 times 12? What is it? What is it?
you're like, stop.
Literally. So I think that's so I didn't always want to be a doctor. I just really liked science. And there was definitely a time when I wanted to do marine biology.
Mhm. Really?
Um, yeah, because I really like dolphins.
Okay.
And my I just like dolphins and the water. And my sister was also studying
Oh, yeah.
zoology at uni at the time.
Yeah.
And, as a younger sister, so I just like to do whatever my sister's doing.
You're like, I look up to her. I want to do that. Copy, paste.
Absolutely. Personality, I don't know her. I am my sister.
We're different.
um, so yeah, and then I think it wasn't, and then I remember talking to some people at some point, and I think the reason why I was kind of turned off marine biology a little bit is that it was mainly I don't know if I saw myself doing the whole research conservation thing.
Yeah.
Um, I think it just didn't have enough sort of the social aspect wasn't enough for me.
Yeah.
And I
Fair enough.
like I
People.
like people, except when I don't.
It's one of those ones where it's like I like people, but I don't push it too far.
Don't push it too far. Okay?
I like certain people.
Just in moderation.
Right. Okay. So you pick medicine. You're always doing music on the side. How, okay, I guess when it kind of became like they kind of merged, right? Well, you had to find a way to merge the two parts, was when you
Yeah.
got Hamilton.
Yes. Although I guess that was like I had to figure out how to merge it professionally was that point.
Yeah.
But then like through uni and stuff, I also had to figure out what music and creative stuff looked like while I was studying, which is a whole other thing. But I think because I'd kind of done that throughout uni, then once I
Yeah.
got to working, then it felt a little easier because I was like, well, it's not like I have a little more downtime because it's not like I'm working and then I come home and then I have to study necessarily quite
Yeah.
yet in at this point in my medical career.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like studying to do, but it's a little bit like it's different as an intern. And I was kind of ready to kind of like take it slow. I wasn't really in a rush to get into a specialty program or start specialty training yet. So I spent most of my spare time pursuing the musical things. But yeah, as far as like professionally goes, Hamilton was when I had to figure out how the two professions looked together.
Together. Yeah. I was gonna ask, were you intentional about not rushing into the next step in terms of your medical career so that you could see what music had to offer? Or was it just like a thing of like you just kind of stumbled into the arrangement?
That's such an interesting question. I think I was intentional about it
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I don't mind being a resident. for a few years longer than everyone else,
Yeah.
because once you start in a specialty program, like that's it for the next like 6
Yeah, it's
years.
a commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, well, it's like medical school all over again, basically, at least,
Yeah.
depending on if you pass your exams as you're training. So yeah, I think, and then I guess the other thing was that, like, you know, if I start training and then like I meet a partner and then I want to have kids and then I want to get married, like, you know, like it all kind of starts
Yeah.
to happen. So I think I was just a little bit wary, not wary, but I was just kind of aware of that and how quickly time can fly.
Yeah.
And I think how much I would regret not at least trying.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think I felt it was definitely a little scary because I was like, all of my friends are still working as doctors full time, and the fact that I'm not doing that kind of makes me feel some type of way. Like I just feel like I'm gonna get stupid.
That's what I
Um,
was gonna ask, is that like what how did you explain that to okay, first of all, how do you explain that to African parents? Let's start there. Because African parents are degree hungry, not even money hungry, degree hungry. You get one degree, they're like,
where's the other
so
one?
when's the next one? So when's the next step? So when's the next? It's like, when can I rest? So first part of my question would be, how did you explain that to your parents, and like what was that conversation like? And then also, like, how do you explain it to your peers? Because a lot of people that are attracted to the medical field are quite like go-getters, high achievers, like.
Yeah. As far as explaining it to my parents, my mum has always been really supportive of my creative things. Um, so I feel really blessed as far as that goes, because I didn't really feel like I had to like explain and justify to her, because she knows. Um, or she knew, and she knew that that had kind of been my plan all along. Like I was never really shy about it, um, about wanting to take a break from medicine at some point to focus on the music stuff,
Yeah.
because she knows how much I love it and how important it is to me, and how much I wanted to do it professionally as well. Because I have been doing music stuff in some shape, way, or form forever. Um, so I think there were definitely like the intricacies and stuff, as far as like she was like, can you like support yourself? I think that was
Are
the
you gonna
main
be able
thing.
to eat?
Like, you're gonna be broke, or like what's the vibe?
Yeah.
So, you know, and luckily I was in a position where it was okay. Like it was all right. Like it's a job, it's employment. So it wasn't really something that I had to worry about.
Yeah.
Um, and for her, she was just like, girl, I done supported you through high school, through uni, now you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. She's like, I am done. I did my part.
She
All the
was
best.
like, you have graduated, good luck.
All in
That's
the
all I
world.
care about. So
Yeah.
I think like it wasn't like a difficult, uncomfortable conversation to have.
That's good.
Um, and then as far as my friends go, I mean, they all also know how important it was to me. Like I was
Yeah.
always dragging them to gigs. I was like, come to my jazz gig, come to my show, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think it was like a huge surprise for them, to be honest.
No, it really
Um,
was. I'm not gonna lie. Just watching from the outside, I was like, oh, obviously, of course.
oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool,
Like
cool,
when
cool,
you, I was
cool.
like, oh, duh. Like, yeah, this makes sense. 'Cause
Yeah.
what specialty would she pick anyway? Like, I just,
I, you know, for a long time, I was really set on women's health, on obstetrics and gynecology.
that's changed. I swear the last time we spoke, that's what you were set on.
Is that what yeah, it's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What does it
yeah.
change to?
So, well, I was like, I don't know if I want to work in a hospital for the rest of my life.
You want to be a GP?
Yeah.
I think you'd be a great GP.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
but I was like, I think I just, in the last, because I've been away from full-time medicine, I've been away from consistent full-time medicine for, this is my second year.
Yeah.
And I've just like worked like casually on my days off, or when I have like chunks of weeks off or something between seasons or between contracts for musical theatre. And I've just realized how much of an impact working in a hospital has on my health.
Mm,
and my ability to look after myself. Like, I don't think I really knew how to look after myself until I worked in a job where my physical health really impacts my ability to function. Like,
yeah.
it sounds ironic, but like, there are people at hospitals that are functioning on 3 hours of sleep.
I was gonna say the shift work and the demand of working in a hospital. Do not
Yeah.
recommend. My God, don't
Child, and
recommend.
it's,
Mm-mm.
I just, and it almost feels like it's hard not to look at it as resignation or defeat, because I'm just like, it's not, I don't know, like, you train for this long, and then you work in that area for a little bit of time, and
Yeah,
then stepping away from it, and you're like, that is not healthy for me. Like, there are people that can do that, and I love
and I
that for them,
want to do
because,
that.
and they
Shout
want to
out
do
to
that, and we
yeah.
need those people. I'll be the first one to tell you we need those people.
We need those people because
Me
hospitals need more
myself,
people.
hospitals need people.
Yeah,
But me myself, I'm like, and I think music, whether I'm doing it professionally or not professionally, it needs to be in my life.
yeah.
So it can't really be in my life in a substantial way if I'm working full time
You
at a
know,
hospital.
yeah.
So, you know,
No, I love that. I love how it's like you may not necessarily have an exact picture of what your life will look like, but you know what you've prioritized and what you find important in your
yeah,
life that you want to include. And so you're setting up a lifestyle and making decisions based off that, which I think
yes.
more people need to do. That's a conversation for another day.
Another day.
My next question was gonna be, I don't know how I want to ask this. How has your journey
Yep.
as, and you can take some time to answer this. How has your journey as a Black woman been in the Australian creative performing arts scene been?
Well, I don't know where to start. Look, and I'm pretty new to this industry, that being said. I'm pretty new to this industry. Like, I've only really been in it professionally for 2 years, not even that. So I have a pretty limited view. That being said, like, there's other girlies out there that have been doing this for like 15, 20 years
Yeah.
that probably have pages and pages and pages of experiences. We could talk till the cows come home. In my short time in this industry, however,
I have some words.
woo! Look, it's been such a blessing. I will start there, because I'm like, I never thought I was gonna. It's so dumb to say this, but like, I'm really out here saying I never thought that I would get here, and I'm like, damn well that this was the plan.
You
Like,
won't
stop
stop until
acting
you
like
got
it's
to
a
the top.
surprise.
But it's like, I'm here though. Like, you can be like,
you
I never
know,
thought I'd get here because it's like, I was always going to work hard to get here, but damn, I'm actually here.
but like, damn, it happened. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, it's like, it's a bit like that, and
Yeah.
it feels, yeah, like, it just feels correct. It feels right. It feels like what I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't take that for granted. I'm really grateful for that, because not everyone has that experience with their careers. Um, so I feel, yeah, it just feels really good to have that purpose and to feel as though that purpose is playing out.
Yeah.
Um, and there's negative experiences in every workspace.
Mhm.
Um, and workspaces shouldn't be on pedestals just because it's your passion. Granted,
Yeah.
that's a really awesome part of, if you happen to be working in a field that is your passion, then that's phenomenal, but it's still work.
Yeah. I feel
And
that
it's,
about the not-for-profit space is that like there can be a lot of
oh yeah,
praise and all that kind of stuff that can be given to that, but it's like it's also still work and there's also still going to be
yeah,
kinks in the systems and all that kind of stuff that
absolutely.
need to be worked out.
Yes, it's not flawless. It's, just because it's a charity, it doesn't mean that it's perfect.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be held accountable too.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's been really interesting, kind of like, I think, deconstructing my ideas of what working in a field that's your passion looks like.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm,
it still needs boundaries. You
yeah.
still need time off, you know, um, that serve particular people over others, and like
Mm,
everyone knows that. Like even when it comes to things like, because this industry is a very fixated on how you look. And
mm,
there are just certain things that you'll do, like whether that be publicity or photo shoots or things like that, that require you to have your hair done, your makeup done. And a lot of the time, well, not a lot of the time, but sometimes that stuff is out of your control.
yeah.
Um, um, so being in that space has been really interesting because I hate people touching my hair and my makeup you know, unless I know them and I've had them do my hair before.
Like I trust you. Yeah.
Yeah, unless I trust them. So that has been a really interesting experience. Um, Advocating for myself. And yeah, I think I've learned a lot when it comes to things like advocacy, standing up for myself, boundaries, and also just how to navigate white fragility.
Yeah.
So
Because it becomes like an added burden. Like it's like I have feelings that I would like to share, but now I'm gonna have to like also help you with your feelings that you're gonna feel about
uh,
what I have shared, and now I'm doing double the work.
yo, and now I gotta help you not feel guilty. Okay.
That is feedback. Feel guilty.
Yeah, and it's been really interesting because I think I've learned there are a few people that I've like learned how to do that from, which has been great because at the end of the day, it's kind of a game. Like if you are the only person that is represented in a space, you are
Yeah.
automatically the spokesperson, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might preface everything you say with I don't speak on behalf of a whole community or communities if you happen to be intersectional. Um, but people are still gonna look to you. And it's like, seriously, I'm just trying to come in and do my job. Like,
I just want to do my job. I don't want to speak for all Black women across the
no,
world. That's not. But here you are asking me a question on
sure.
behalf of all Black people around the world.
Why not?
That is actually really beautiful because I wanted to know what is one thing you would tell someone who is, I mean, you can make it two parts. You can make it specific to a person of color chasing their like dream of being in the creative slash performing arts industry in
Mhm.
Australia, but also just as a Black person navigating predominantly white spaces. What is one piece of advice that you would give?
Oh, I love this. I think I would say don't feel like you have to speak on anything and everything straight away. You know?
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Choose your
Because I
battles
think
wisely.
choose literally, oh my gosh, you have taken the words out of my brain. You're in my brain looking at it.
You're welcome.
Choose your battles. And like I think that we have this idea in this like, you know, in these advocacy spaces, I think we have this idea that like we need to have an answer for everything straight away. And it needs to be witty, it needs to straight away.
Yeah.
But it's like that takes time. Like all the videos of people standing up for themselves, like they probably had to do it 10 million times before they got that articulate.
Yeah.
Like just take,
100%.
just take the pressure off yourself to like sit with things and how you stand up for yourself might not like you might not feel like it's perfect, but I promise you the more you talk to other folks, the more you like get the language because there's definitely a language when it comes to navigating this in predominantly white spaces
Yes.
um that 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 makes people in power feel less like it's their fault,
Yeah.
which if you want to continue I think is really helpful if you're in a space that you're going to continue working in.
I was going to say, I think that's a really big one is that sometimes you'll let things slide because you either don't have the words in that moment
Yeah.
or you just don't know how to navigate it. Like sometimes you're just so shocked. You're like,
Yes,
that just happened. But that doesn't
absolutely.
necessarily mean you need to come back the next day and burn down the whole place because
No.
you weren't able to stand up in that moment. Sometimes it's like,
Yo,
okay, that was a battle I let pass me by.
absolutely.
I will be ready next time, or I will know what to say next time. Or there is sometimes there's always next time. Is just enough. Like
There is,
we'll wait for
look,
the next one because there will always be a next time.
there's
In-
probably going to be a next time for like for a while. There's going to be a next time for a while. Barack Obama was president, and there is still a next time.
it,
You know what I mean?
it's the way that changed nothing. Like, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's a
Um,
whole other conversation.
yes.
Oh, okay. What has been the hardest part of your journey
In the creative space or just like in life?
in life?
In life. The hardest part. Oh, I'm a bit stumped.
Would have been easier if I said in the creative space.
Not necessarily, because I think I'm still kind of like factoring that in.
Yeah, that's why I said in life generally, because I was like,
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna still factor that in. I don't know. It's hard to say because I really do feel like I've had a really idyllic life.
mm,
Like I know that sounds kind of crazy, but like
no, not at all.
I I think I've had a really idyllic life. Like sure there's been things that have been hard, but I think the hardest thing for me in life has just been navigating relationships, whether that be
Yeah.
family, friends, like I think that has probably been the hardest thing,
Mm.
which is not to say that it's been a bad thing. It's just been a lot of like a lot of growing and a lot of growth and
Work.
yeah.
People say relationships take work, and it's like, ugh, that's so gross. But like,
Why?
even if you were to have no other relationships in your life except your family,
uh
that would
yeah,
still take work.
absolutely. Like they don't just like they're not just good out of thin air.
They
Like I
don't just
think there's definitely
happen. Good
they
relationships don't
don't.
just happen.
They really don't. And actually on that note, I was listening to your podcast episode with Kylie this morning.
Oh,
Oh, the way I was cracking up. That was such a beautiful episode.
I love that episode. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because she'd be like 16 now, right? Like 16,
She
17.
is 16 now, and oh my God, she's only gotten my parents did something there.
Yo, I wish I was like that when I was 13. I wish I was like that.
I think this all the time, and especially now that she's 16, I'm like, what, how, hmm?
Girl, yeah,
The confidence, the self-belief, the just, yeah, yeah. I love that for her.
I know.
Okay, we'll do closing remarks. Do you have any last words? Any last, I'll put it as anything you want people to take away from your story and your journey, slash anything you would want everyone to know. Like just one of those things that's like, I wish more people knew this.
I think I'm gonna stick to I wish more people knew that more black people specifically, more black women
Mm-hmm.
specifically knew that they don't need to have a response for everything straight away and that it is a learning process
Yeah,
and it's trial and error. Like there are some times that I'm like, I don't know what I was talking about, but you know,
I felt that.
I just
Mhm.
talked on my feelings and I think I'm better at articulating my feelings now. Um, but it's annoying that we even have to walk on eggshells when it comes to things like that. And I'm talking specifically about like when someone tries to touch your hair and you're like, can you not? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
Like,
like, but why can't I? Or is that your real hair?
uh, I'm bored. Why? Why are you asking me how often I wash my hair?
Do you ask
You know what
everyone
I
else what
mean?
their hygiene routine is? Like, I don't understand.
No, like why? But
Yeah.
that's my closing remark. Like it all, I think it all advocating for yourself and standing up for yourself and feeling confident and empowered to do that takes time,
Yeah.
and it's not the same in every situation. And yeah, it might feel a little clunky. She might feel a little clunky sometimes, but that's
Sometimes.
all right.
I felt that. Well, if that's everything, thank you for
Yeah,
coming on and sharing.
of
I loved it.
course.
Oh, that was great. Thank you so much for coming on again. Do
Thank
you want to tell the
you.
people where they can find you? Instagram.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at shewit.belay, shewit.belay. And you can find me on YouTube. I'm on YouTube too.
Oh yeah, because
There
that where you post covers?
I do, yeah. I haven't
Yes.
like posted anything in a minute. But hopefully I will soon.
We'll be
Or
waiting
catch
for
me
you.
on stage, at
Period. Get
Wicked.
tickets. Go watch her.
Yeah. This is the first time we brought it up. Oh no, the second.
No, the second I started with this. What do you mean?
Yeah,
I
you
started
did.
with this.
You
I
did.
said she's
Sorry,
in
sorry.
Sydney.
You had a really flattering bio for me. Thank you for that, by the way.
I tried. Even then I was like, I feel like I could have used better English than this. All those years of private school education. But it
Look,
is what
probably
it
didn't
is.
help. I was interrupting you like every 5 seconds.
No, no. All good. Yeah, that's it. That
Thank
is the
you.
end.
Thank you for
And
doing what you do for the people.
thank you. I'm trying. Oh, there go my rings.
Oh my God.
And okay.